The wind howled across the empty plains, carrying with it the scent of rain and something else. A sharp tang of fear that made Jed Whitlock, a man used to the silence of wide, empty spaces, pause in his saddle. It was late afternoon, the sun dipping low behind bruised clouds, when he spotted her, a figure staggering along the wagon trail, her steps unsteady, hair plastered to her face with sweat and dust, clutching something close to her chest as if it were more precious than life itself. And when he rode closer, he saw her lips moving, but the words came out in a whisper barely audible over the wind. "Please, don't open it." Then her knees buckled, and she crumpled into the dirt, the bundle still clutched tight. Jed was off his horse in a second, scooping her up with the ease of a man who'd lifted his share of broken bodies before. He'd seen women collapse like this in the mining camps when sickness swept through. Seen men do the same on cattle drives when the fever got too strong. But there was something about this one that felt different. Maybe it was the look in her eyes, even half unconscious, a desperate, almost wild plea that told him whatever she carried mattered more than she did. He laid her in the saddle and mounted behind her, his left hand steadying her, his right gripping the reins as he urged his horse toward his small, weathered ranch house that sat like a stubborn island against the rolling sea of grass. Inside, he set her gently on his bed, the bundle still pressed to her chest, and knelt beside her, pulling a blanket over her trembling frame, coaxing small sips of water into her parched mouth until her breathing steadied. When she finally slept, he turned to the thing she'd been holding. It was wrapped in old canvas, tied with a strip of leather, the edges stained dark with something he didn't want to guess at, and though his fingers itched to know what could drive a woman to near death just to keep it safe, her words echoed in his mind, sharp and urgent. "Don't open it." For a man who'd lived alone for nearly a decade, curiosity was a dangerous companion, and he paced the cabin for a long while before finally stepping outside, the sky heavy and low with rain, wondering if he should burn the thing, bury it, or toss it in the creek. But before he could decide, the distant sound of hooves broke the air, and when he turned, he saw 4 riders coming hard, their faces shadowed by wide hats, rifles slung low, the kind of men who didn't ride together unless they were hunting something, or someone. Instinct told him they weren't here by chance, and when they reined up a dozen yards from his porch, the leader, a lean man with eyes like cold iron, called out, "Afternoon, stranger. We're looking for a woman. She's carrying something belongs to us." Jed didn't move, his Winchester resting easy in his hands but ready, his voice slow and calm as he said he hadn't seen anyone fitting that description, though the man's eyes drifted past him toward the cabin, narrowing slightly. They asked again, with less patience this time, and Jed gave them the same answer, this time with the faintest steel in his tone, and after a long moment, the leader spat in the dirt, muttered something to his men, and they rode off toward the hills, but Jed knew they'd be back, and next time they wouldn't come asking first. Back inside, the woman had woken, eyes wide and frightened, her fingers clutching the bundle tighter as she whispered, "You don't understand, if they get it, they'll kill us both." She told him her name was Clara, that she'd been running for 3 days, and that the men who chased her weren't just outlaws, they were something worse, a mix of hired guns and lawmen gone rotten, guarding a secret the territory wasn't meant to know. What was in the bundle, she wouldn't say, except that it was proof of something that could bring down a man powerful enough to crush anyone who crossed him. Jed didn't know why he believed her, only that he'd spent too many years seeing good folks trampled by men like that, and the part of him that had once worn a badge before the war and the loss had stripped it from him couldn't let her go back alone. The night fell heavy, rain hammering the roof, and sometime before dawn, the horses came again, hooves pounding close before stopping altogether. Shadows moved outside the cabin, low voices, the click of metal. Jed was already on his feet, rifle in hand, telling Clara to stay low and keep that bundle hidden no matter what. The first shot shattered the window, glass spraying across the room, and Jed's return fire dropped a figure in the mud. The fight was fast and brutal, gun smoke choking the air, until at last the last of them broke and fled into the dark, leaving behind only the smell of powder and the groan of the wind. When the silence settled, Jed turned to find Clara still clutching the bundle, her knuckles white, but her eyes locked on him with something new, trust, maybe, or the fragile start of it. He didn't ask again what was inside, but as the dawn broke pale and cold, he knew one thing. Whatever secret it was, it had just made them both targets in a game neither of them had chosen, and he wasn't about to let her face it alone. Because sometimes in the Old West, the choice to stand by someone, even a stranger, meant more than your own life, and if you believe there are still stories worth hearing about courage, loyalty, and the dangerous kind of love born in gun smoke and rain, make sure you subscribe right now, because there are more tales like this waiting to be told, and you don't want to miss a single one.